As we all know, China is one of the largest and the fastest growing economies in the world, and it presents a vast market for business looking to expand their reach. However, navigating the customs clearance process can be a daunting task, especially for those who are new to the Chinese market. That is why we have gathered here today to provide you with valuable insights and information on customs clearance to China. During this webinar, you will learn about the customs clearance process in China, including the regulations to follow, required documents, and the challenges you may face. You will also get to know about the latest updates and the changes in the customs clearance process, which will help you stay ahead of the game. And I'm super excited to introduce you our speaker, Ivy, who brings with her over 7 years of experience in the B2B industry. With her expertise in compliance services for cosmetics and food, Ivy has become a specialist in helping brands gain access to the Chinese market. Her knowledge and insights are invaluable, and we are thrilled to have her share her expertise with us today. So sit back and relax and get ready to learn. We hope that you will find this webinar informative and valuable. Let's give the floor to Ivy.
Okay, thanks, Ying. Okay, hi everyone. First of all, thanks for taking your time to join this webinar today. And my topic is navigating China's customs, insights for smooth cosmetics and food entry. No matter in which country, make sure your product comply with the local regulations is definitely a wise choice to make access to a new market. Okay, today I will break down the main topic into 3 parts, and the whole presentation would last around 30 minutes. And the first part is about the essential knowledge you need to know when you plan to export to China. And it will mainly cover the definition of the important terms, qualifications of products, and the recently released policies concerning importers or exporters. Second, the Chinese customs clearance procedures. And lastly, what we can help as ZMUni. And to let you have a better understanding of each point, I will try to add some examples to further explain my points. Well, it's so excited to talk with you through online channels. I know some of you are our trusted partners, some are our new friends from LinkedIn, and some friends we've met at exhibitions. So please remember me how I look like. So next time when you visit China, you may recognize me in the first sight. So the chance is very slim. I'm looking forward to it. And as for those of you who don't know me, I'm the Market Operation Manager at ZMUni, which is one of the leading companies specialized in cosmetics and food regulatory compliance based in China, and with a face to provide clients with convenient and efficient service. We gathered experts from customs clearance and the QMS field to empower every overseas client with comprehensive solutions. Compared to some agents solely declare customs clearance, we have preventive sense at the first hand, and we are more aware of the importance of a smooth export procedures for international clients. If you are curious of Chinese market or you've already aimed at the market, hopefully today's webinar will help you move a step forward to realize opportunities and some pitfalls you might come across. And if you have any questions during my presentation, you can raise it in the chat box and we will discuss it in the Q&A session in the end. Before we move into the main topic of today, let me share some cases. In this page, you will find that the cosmetics contains caviar got fined during customs inspection. Do you know the reasons? I wish you don't know it because which makes my presentation today more meaningful to you. Okay, let me find the answers. Caviar belongs to the endangered species. Before import, you need to apply site certificate. This is a very classic case. Site certificate is a permit to import, export, or re-export endangered animal or plant species on the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora list. It should be prepared before shipping. Next example, flavor used in cosmetics, declaring non-dangerous chemical. I believe most of you realize the answer. Yes, it is because flavor is flammable. You need to declare it as dangerous goods or you will get fined. Those are two typical examples of non-compliant declaration I want to share with you to raise your awareness of customs clearance compliance. Not only fines, but your products could be returned or disposed. Next, let's move to the first part, essential knowledge. The authority entity of custom clearance, it is GACC, shorted for General Administration of Customs of China. Below are the service scope of GACC, like AEO Enterprise Administration. If your importer has registered for AEO, then your clearance procedure will be much more efficient normally. And other services like commodity inspection, health and quarantine, etc. Then we comes to the common customs supervision mode. Today, I will focus on 4 modes. And you can see each mode has its code, which will be indicated in GACC portal. The first one, general trade. The code is 0110. It refers to the unilateral import or unilateral export trade of enterprises with import or export rights in China. The goods imported or exported according to the general trade transaction are general trade goods. Through this trade, your goods can be sold on the store, other offline shelves, as well as online channels. If you choose e-commerce, you will either deliver the goods by online shopping with bonded warehouse or shipping directly from your country after customers place the order online. The former one can ensure the satisfaction of customers who has very keen need in time delivery. And the fourth is advertisement articles and samples for local marketing purpose, but not for sales. For example, exhibition display. And next comes to the very first crucial thing we need to figure out is the HS code, which is an international standardized system of numbers and names to classify the trade goods, just like the ID card of products. Customs will supervise specifically to each product ID. There are 6 to 10 numbers of a full code. In China, it is 10 digits. As long as the country has joined WTO, we use the same rules for the former 6 digits. This code is very significant since it depends on which tax type you need to comply and whether if it is a product that contains composition of endangered species. And here I will share you one examples. 3301 is the product catalog, means essential oils, including concretes and absolutes, retinoids, blah, blah. Seriously, there comes with long article description. I just leave it for you to explore. And the next one is the first tier subcatalog. Stands for the oils comes from orange. The next 9 is the second tier catalog, stands for of lemon. And the third one is the third tier catalog, stands for of lime. So we can assume the next 0 stands for the fourth tier subcatalog. And the last 2 numbers has different meanings for different product category. Sometimes it's about the form of measurement like gram or volume. After knowing how to define a HAS code, I would highly recommend you to find an experienced agent to help you verify the code. Because you can see below, you have to check many documents to settle down the final code. It would be tough and too professional to try for beginners. Here are some frequently used HAS codes and its tariff and tax rates. Since we have the HAS code, we will know the corresponding customs tariff, value-added tax rate, and the consumption tax rate. So it's important to identify the product category. For example, perfume is levied at 3% for customs tariffs and 13% for value-added tax. And if the goods dutiable value is more than 10 RMB per gram, the consumption tax rate would be 15. For example, if you export a 10 milliliter perfume, the dutiable value is more than 100 RMB, then the customs will collect 15 consumption tax over you. But for shampoo, no consumption tax is levied. Another term related to tax is dutiable value. It means the value used by customs for the purpose of levying customs duties. It is the basis for the customs to collect tariffs, value-added tax, and consumption tax. According to the regulation of the People's Republic of China on import and export tariffs promulgated in 1985, the dutiable value of imported goods shall be the CIF price at the place where the imported goods arrive. Then how to calculate? The dutiable value of an imported good includes material cost, labor cost, mechanical consumption, insurance, importer land freight, ocean freight, customs declaration tax. Chinese customs is taxed with assigning a fair value to all imports. Here I also list out 3 equations for the calculation of tariffs, consumption tax, and the VAT for your reference. Some clients might want to estimate the customs duties in advance. We can help to do that without any charge. Next, we will come to our next point, where and when to put on Chinese labels. Some of you might call it white label. According to the regulations, imported cosmetics need to put on Chinese labels, both on the outside package or inner package. The inner package label is a new requirement, which is put into effect since May 1st this year. Please be aware of this requirement. As for when to put on the Chinese labels, according to regulations, you need to put on labels before goods arrive at Chinese port. According to our experience, imported cosmetics can put this step in the local bonded warehouse or customs supervised warehouse, which can also save some labor cost or save time. And for imported food, we would recommend that you put on the labels before shipping, because customs has a strict attitude towards food import. You might be commanded to return goods if no Chinese labels on your product. And today, I believe our audience mainly comes from cosmetics and food industry. For cosmetics, Before exporting to China, you need to check its product compliance requirements. For example, if you are going to export cosmetics, then you need to get NMPA and shorted for National Medical Products Administration's approval, either registration for special cosmetics or notification for general cosmetics. Speaking of the classification of cosmetics in China, we divide some cosmetics into general cosmetics and special cosmetics. Special cosmetics refers to products claiming spot removal and whitening, sunscreening, hair dyes, hair perms, anti-hair loss, or a new efficacy. Otherwise, it's a general cosmetic and only subject to notification procedures and will have a quicker market access. And for foods, similarly, you need to check your food classification in China. Ordinary foods need to comply with GB standards. In China, it is a national standard. And the special foods need to process registration or notification through SAMR, shorted for State Administration for Market Regulation. Don't worry about the product supervision and management type. We have planned another 2 webinars, and my colleagues will focus on helping you identify what product compliance load you will have to comply. After having a brief view of product certification and qualification you have to know, here let's together walk through some significant changes of requirements on importers or exporters. The first one is about size exemption. If you are exporting products to China, if the products contain composition of endangered species, you will need to apply site certification before export. The new policy released on September 15 last year has brought a great relief to traders. For example, if composition is not in the list of sites, but with the same name of wildlife under key state protection in China, which could be exempted as long as it doesn't originate from Chinese territory and doesn't grow wildly. Speaking of sites, let's find out how to check if your products contain composition of endangered species. First, you have 3 published appendix to look up. Site Appendix 2023. It is short name for the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, also known as the Washington Convention. It's a multilateral treaty to protect endangered plants and animals from the threats of international trade. It is internationally recognized. However, if your product does not contain any composition of endangered species in the site appendix, it does not mean your product is completely out of the endangered species scope. Because in China, you have national list of wildlife plants and wildlife animals, you have to check those 3 lists for safe. We, ZMUni, has developed an online tool to compile those 3 appendix together, and it's free to use. But the tool only has Chinese version, and currently you can contact me if you want to check for your products. And here I attached the 2 documents. The left one cites certificate issued by the Chinese government, and the right one is the species identification certificate for your reference. Here, I listed some common composition of endangered species for your reference. From this chart, you can see that some composition could be under the national level as well as the site level. In this condition, you need to comply with the highest level, which means you can solely apply site certificate. No need to apply species identification certificate. Speaking of the species identification certificate, it is the certificate issued by Chinese government. And in the past, you have to, you have to designate a consignee for the imported goods. Usually it takes about 5 to 10 business days to get approval. And now meat importers or cosmetic importers don't need to register for the consignee anymore. This also highly facilitates the time cycle for the custom clearance. But to be aware, if you are exporting products like health food, aquatic products, solid beverage, and other foods, the notification of a consignee would be a mandatory requirement. The registration of foreign trade operator is cancelled. This is a good policy for exporters and importers. Since the beginning of 2023, you don't need to check whether if your importers have completed the registration of foreign trade at provincial commercial administration. It's much shortened the time circle of the whole customs clearance procedures. Previously, you would take about 5 business days to complete the registration. Above some policies that in some degree relax the requirements on import and export, but this one shows China has tightened the supervision on food import. If you're going to export food to China, you will need to register the information of overseas manufacturers. After registration, you will get a China registration number, which also will be displayed in the Chinese labels on the product, just like the picture. And the application procedure takes about 1 to 2 months. So if the marketing timing is very critical to you, you have to contemplate this earlier. Now let's move to the procedures of customs clearance. It is designed chronologically. Let's work through each stage one by one. In the first stage, you have to prepare your product certificate. For cosmetics, you need to complete the NMPA notification and registration. This is mentioned before, and you can, and you can join our webinar on June 8th to get more information. And for foods, here what I share is about ordinary food. You have to work with agents who are specialized in food compliance to review your formula and the labels, including package, which will be introduced in June 1st, the same time. And in the second stage, you need to pack goods and book cargo and put on reviewed Chinese labels and apply export declaration in your country. In the third stage, you can assign a third party like us to help review the necessary custom clearance documents and estimate tax cost involved if you want to know the around tax in advance. And the fourth stage, you need to support the customs to do the spot inspection, pay the taxes, and get your goods released. In the last stage, you will get the sanitary certificate and your products will get released. In the last stage, you will get, after you get the sanitary certificate, then your products are allowed to go on markets. Still, I will combine what I have mentioned before to help you grasp the key points. That is, product certification is very, very important. For cosmetics, you have to get registered or notified in NMPA. For foods, you need to assist agents or importers to register the overseas manufacturers, get products labeled and the formula reviewed by a professional compliance agent, and put on Chinese labels before shipping accordingly. This slide, let's see what documents are involved for the customs clearance. Basic documents are contract, invoice, packing list, bill of lading, certificate of origin. Those are same requirements for both cosmetics and food. And to be concerned is that for cosmetics, you need to provide the NMPA notification number. During the process of NMPA notification, primarily you need to provide more information about your products, like the package translation, Chinese labels, and the safety evaluation report, etc. And for foods, the registration for overseas manufacturers of imported food is very important, just like I mentioned before. And other documents needed could be easily to prepare, or you should have it with you in your daily work. So I would not put any efforts here today. Then we're going to the last part of our webinar, what we can help as one-stop customs clearance service provider. We can provide product registration and notification, application for sites or the species identification certificate, and to obtain qualification of import and export, registration for overseas manufacturers of imported food, and obtain the certificate of distribution and operation for aquatic wildlife. And why choose us? Actually, we're not a company only focusing on customs clearance. Our compliance background made us a good choice because we clearly know how the customs clearance can affect the market access in Chinese market. And will help you avoid any risk that could affect your compliant and quick market entrance in the first place, or give you our expert advice on how to mitigate the risk in some special cases. During the clearance, we will try our best to support you to prepare or fill required documents. I know the paperwork could be a tough one, especially when it comes to cross-culture. Besides, we are a very target-oriented team. We stick to the timeline. We will provide prompt post-service in your next 3-year monitoring period after clearance. At last, please allow me to take 2 minutes more to have a quick introduction of our team. ZMUni is founded in 2018. Now we already have over 70 staffs and successfully helped over 1,000 brands make its market access in China. Over half of them are international brands. As of now, there are over 20,000 products are notified or registered in NMPA with our assistance. And our headquarters is in Hangzhou, a beautiful city in China, and we have 8 branches, including London, Seoul, Beijing, Shanghai. Just like I said before, besides import and export services, our core advantage is on product regulatory compliance, like cosmetics, cosmetic ingredients, food supplements, pet food, disinfectants, and pesticides are within our scope. We also help enterprises to build a QMS system and other solutions related. And customized training online or offline are what we specialize in too. And these are some photos of our past activities and the speech. Okay, thank you for all of you who stick to the end of this webinar. And I wish today's webinar is somehow meaningful to you. And if you are interested to our webinars on regulatory compliance of food and cosmetics, please do not forget to save a seat. And my colleague will send the registration link in the chat box. You can help yourself to find out more. Then let me check if anyone has raised any questions. Okay, this question, Chinese label must be on primary packaging. The answer is yes. Chinese label must be on the primary packaging so customer can see it. Next question, does it need Chinese label on its packaging for cross-border food importation? Actually, no, but Chinese introduction for the product shall be displayed on the selling website. Any more questions? Okay, thanks again for your attention. I will invite our host Ying back to give us more details about our upcoming webinars.
Okay, thank you all for joining us today. We hope that you find this information shared by Ivy to be valuable and insightful. Like she mentioned a moment ago, we would also like to take this opportunity to invite you to 2 coming webinars that we will be hosting on food and cosmetic regulations in China. These webinars will provide valuable insights into the latest regulations and the compliance requirements for these industries in China. Okay, we warmly and sincerely welcome you to join us if you are interested. And you can register these 2 webinars via the link I shared on the chat box. Or you can visit our website, ZMUni.com, to find more information about the webinars and our services. Well, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us and send them to info@zmuni.com. We will come back to you as soon as possible. Well, thank you again for taking time to attending this webinar. We'll see you next time on our upcoming webinars. Okay,
Bye.
Bye.
See you next time.